Dear student, today we are going to learn the topic of Science 2, chapter number 6, Classification of Plants. Dear student, there is tremendous varieties of living organism on the earth which is called biodiversity. The scientist Robert Whitaker classified all the living thing on the earth into five kingdoms: Monera, Protista, fungi, plantae, and animalia. So, dear student, today in this topic we are going to learn in detail the classification of plant. The plants are classified in a different way by taking different criteria into consideration. In this standard, we are going to take the criteria whether the plant flowers or not. Depending on this criteria, the plants are classified into two kingdoms, that is cryptogams and phanerogams. Cryptogams are non-flowering plant and phanerogams are flowering plant. These cryptogams are further subclassified into three divisions, that is thalophyta, bryophyta, and pteridophyta. Out of these, thalophyta and bryophyta are non-vascular cryptogam. What is mean by non-vascular cryptogam? Student, you know the different parts of plant, that is root, stem, leaves and flowers. The root absorb water and mineral and supply it to the different parts of the plant. The leaves prepare food and supplies it to the different part of plant. For the conduction of food and water, the conducting tissues are required. In plant, it is xylem and phloem. These xylem and phloem are called vascular tissue. But in thalophyta and bryophyta, there is no root, no stem, no leaves, and therefore there is not necessary of conducting tissues, that is xylem and phloem. Those plants which do not have conducting tissues are called non-vascular plant, and therefore thalophytes and bryophytes are non-vascular plant. But the pteridophyte, it is a vascular plant because it has root, stem and leaves, but it does not have flowers. So, dear children, we are going to learn the thalophytes with one example. You know, the example of a thalophyte is Spirogyra. This Spirogyra, it is found either in the fresh water or marine water. If you take the one or two fiber of this plant and mount it on the slide, you will observe the rectangular cell in which there is a spiral chlorophyll, due to which they can prepare their own food and hence they are called autotrophs. The second example of thalophyte is fungus. The fungus is a saprophyte. It grows on steel food and obtain their nutrition. Both these algae and fungi do not have root, stem and leaves. They do not have vascular tissues and hence they are included under the division Thalophyta. Now we are going to learn the second division of cryptogams, and that is Bryophyta. Dear student, you might have seen a lush green soft carpet on the old wall or bricks or rocks in the rainy season. What it is? Actually, it is a moss. These plants also do not have root, stem, and leaves, but they have root hair like structure called rhizoids. These plants are also called amphibian plants because they need moist soil and water for their reproduction. As they require both soil and water, they are called amphibious plants. The other example of bryophytes are Merchantia, Anthoceros, Rixia, moss, which is also called Finaria. Now we are going to start with the third subdivision of cryptogam, that is Pteridophyta. Students, you might have seen the fern. In Marathi it is neche, or it is also called nephrolepis. These plants do not have flower, but they have root, stem and leaves. If you see the backside of mature leaf of fern plant, you will observe the brown spot. Each spot is called sorus. This sorus contains spores. If these spores fall on the ground, it germinates and forms new plant. Thus, this plant reproduce asexually by spore formation, and it also reproduce sexually by zygote formation. It has xylem and phloem, a conducting tissues, and hence it is called vascular cryptogam. So we have learned all the three divisions of cryptogam. Now we are going to start the second kingdom of plant, that is phanerogams. Now these phanerogams means a flowering plant, as they have root, stem, leaves and flowers, and flower is the reproductive part of plant, because from flower seed develops and from seed new plants comes, and all plants which bears flowers are included under the class cryptogam sorry phanerogam. Now these phanerogams are further divided into two divisions, that is gymnosperm and angiosperm. Now what is mean by gymnosperm? Gymnosperm includes all those plants whose seed can be seen with our naked eyes. That means it is not inside the fruit, it is open. For example, cycas, Christmas tree, moorpankhi, that is thuja, devdar, that is pine. These are included under gymnosperm. Now these plants have roots, stem, leaves, flowers, and that's why they need conducting tissues to conduct food and water to the different parts of the plant body. Now this gymnosperm will learn one example, that is cycas. Cycas is an evergreen perennial woody plant. The stem of these plants do not have branches. The stem of these plants have a crown-like leaf structure at the apex, and these plants do not have uh, in this plant there is a male flower called microsporophyll and female flower called megasporophyll on two different plants. So here we have completed gymnosperm. Now we'll learn about angiosperm. Now what is angiosperm? These are the flowering seed bearing plant, and in which seed is inside the fruit. You cannot see the seed from outside. If you want to seed, you have to break open the fruit. Now these angiosperms are further classified into two types, that is monocot and dicot. Now last year you have learned what is mean by monocot and what is mean by dicot. The seed in which there is only one cotyledon is called monocotyledon, and the seed in which there is two cotyledon is dicotyledon. For example, if you take maize, jawar, bajra, wheat, rice, they their seed contains only one cotyledon. You cannot divide them into two equal parts. But if you take pea, chana, moth, beans, you will divide them into two equal parts, and hence they are called dicot. Now, if you observe the root system of monocot, it is a fibrous root, and if you see the root system of dicot, it is a tap root. If you see the stem of monocot plant, it is hollow, weak, flexible. But if you see the dicot plant, stem of dicot plant, it is strong, very hard. Now, if you observe the leaf of monocot plant, they are having parallel venation on the leaf. But if you observe the venation in dicot leaf, it is having reticulate venation. The symmetry of petals in the flower of monocot is trimerous, while the symmetry of Flowers in dicot, it is either tetramerous or pentamerous symmetry. So here we have completed the lesson classification of plant of 9th standard science 2. Now dear children, you are supposed to solve the exercise which is given on page number 80. Thank you.